So this past week, there was a huge gaming leak that happened. So as you know, there has been the whole Microsoft versus FTC debate in the past year. Well, recently, the documents from the court case have apparently leaked out, and it reveals some insane news. Apparently, the news states that the next generation of Xbox is coming in 2028. And documents listed roadmap or something like that to 2030. I believe, I can't remember what it said, but it said something about 2030 or something. But the leak said it was going to launch in 2028. So 5 years from now. Not just that, but there's also something big that I wanted to talk about that is also leaked. It leaked mid-gen refreshes of the next-gen consoles. Yes, that's right. Mid-gen refreshes of these current-gen consoles. And as you know, gimmick consoles have always had their slims and their refreshes and stuff. PlayStation has done slim versions of their consoles for every generation. The PS1 had a slim, like I think like the same year as the PS2, I believe. I can remember the PS2 slim happened like 2004, I believe. And the PS3 and PS4 had slim models about halfway through the generation, like 3 years in. There was the PS3 Slim and the PS4 Slim, so all four of the past PlayStations have had a Slim model. The PS5 has yet to have one, but I assume there will be one next year, probably. And there were also rumors about a year ago the PS5 Slim would have a detachable disc drive, apparently, which is some interesting news, and that's something I want to get into here. Now, on the Xbox side, Microsoft has done console refreshes as well since the Xbox 360 days. Now, the Xbox 360 actually had two versions. First, there was the Xbox 360S, released in 2010, 5 years after the original version launched. And it was a huge improvement. I mean, it added a new design, and it fixed the Red Ring of Death issue. And then about 3 years later, right before the Xbox One release, they released a new version called the Xbox 360E, which was, it was just 360S, but with a new design, pretty much. And for the Xbox One, what had the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, and those names ended up being adopted for Microsoft's console generation after the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series... the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. So, yeah. And we're now about 3 years into the Xbox Series generation. The Xbox Series launched in late 2020... And they've had a pretty good generation so far, even though it's been kind of slow. But they've picked up now with, they just released Starfield. But anyway, now I want to get into a big leak about revisions of the Series S and X that are coming, that are leaked for next year in these documents. So first here is, whoops, my slide glitch, which it always does. So first here is Project Brooklyn, the Xbox Series X refresh. The most powerful Xbox ever, now adorably all digital. This thing says, Brooklyn will deliver 4K Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, a more immersive controller, and a beautiful redesign that elevates the all-digital experience of the Xbox ecosystem. Giving our fans more to love. Now I see here with immersive controller here. The documents also listed a newly designed Xbox controller that eliminates the batteries and just plugs in with USB-C like a PlayStation controller, which is gonna be pretty cool. So yeah, and that says, giving our fans more love, beautiful and innovative new design, more internal storage for games. Wow, 2 terabytes. USB-C front port with power delivery. All new, more immersive controller. Same great price, $499. All right. It also has a new cylindrical design here and no disk drive here. And you see the little Xbox button here and sync button here and USB-C ports. There's no USB ports on the front, which is weird. Alright, that says, all new Southbridge monitors I/O sustainability efforts, Wi-Fi 6E radio for better throughout latency and interference mitigation, BT 5.2 radio for improved accessory experiences, 6nm die shrink for improved efficiency, improved sustainability story, reduced PSU power by 15%, new low power standby mode is 20% of current Xbox Series S standby mode, increases the PCR on housing to over 30%, and 100% recyclable packaging. I like the new cylinder design it's going for. Though it's going to be interesting because it's now adorably all digital. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it could mean something huge. Now, before we talk about that, and what that could mean, now let's get into the Xbox Series S. And its codename here is Elwood. Now, unlike the Series X, the Series S doesn't. It's not redesigned. It's not redesigned really because it's the same design here. Now, the Xbox Series S is already the smallest Xbox ever made. You can't really make a slim out of it because the Series S is already the smallest Xbox ever made. But here it's saying Elwood will deliver Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, and a more immersive controller, all for the same affordable price. Even more customer value, more internal storage for games, 1 terabyte. Now, Microsoft actually just released a black 1 terabyte Xbox Series S. That's $50 more than the $300 512 gigabyte one. So I assume they're going to discontinue the 512 gigabyte and replace it with this one. Though I feel like it's possible that. I feel like they should do a 2 terabyte version too. Like maybe they could do a. Maybe they could have a 1 terabyte version and a 2 terabyte version. Like each and you get well the black version of the 1 terabyte just released. So maybe they could have them each in like different color. Like maybe have the Series S like they could have a white version and a black version. Well and you can choose color, and both colors have 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte version that work. And all new immersive controller, which we just talked about, same low price for $299, so the same price. Because they're probably except I assume they're discontinuing the 512 gigabytes because like 512 gigabytes is too much storage. In fact, here's the thing: even though the Series S is 512 gigabytes. Only about 364 gigabytes of it is usable. So that means that if you download Starfield on your Xbox Series S, you only have enough storage for a few other games. You only have storage for about for about 2 to 3 other 100 gigabyte games. It's a lot of games now are 100 gigabytes of storage. But I feel like they should also do a 2 terabyte version as well. Alright, update technologies. All new Southbridge to modernize I/O and sustainability efforts. Wi-Fi, yep, same thing. Same thing here. Okay. Let's go back to this. Adorably all digital. What could this mean? So it's pretty obvious right now that whoops. Okay, my slides keep messing up. It's pretty obvious now that the things in media are going all digital. Back in the day, physical media was all over the place and everything. Movies were on VHS. Music was on cassette tapes. Video games were on cartridges and all that. And that was like 30 years ago. And it wasn't until the 90s when discs were introduced. Some CDs came into play and I think the early '90s, I believe, and and consoles like the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, and all that, and the Sega Dreamcast. I think the 3DO, maybe, I'm not sure. They had they now use discs, and they're way better than cartridges. And that easily made cartridges obsolete as well. Well, Nintendo still used cartridges for the N64, but that's because Nintendo is scared of piracy and stuff. And in fact, that's why the GameCube used small discs instead of regular sized discs, and why they also use their own disc format for the Wii and Wii U, because they're scared of piracy. But yeah, so yeah, in the '90s, discs were being introduced, and that made cartridges obsolete. In the late '90s, DVD was being introduced, and it ended up becoming a huge hit in the 2000s when the PS2 came along. And well, here's the thing: movies were still. Now here's the thing: from like 1996 to 1997 onwards. Well, up until early 2006. Movies releasing simultaneously on DVD and VHS. VHS was still kicking, but DVD was overshadowing it heavily, and DVD began to outsell VHS. So in around early 2006, VHS was discontinued, and everything, and that was why 2000s of all three video game console manufacturers, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, all had moved to discs. And I'm pretty sure music was now on CDs instead of cassettes and everything. This became a huge thing back then. However, in the mid to late 2000s, there came digital distribution. Yes, digital distribution. It was introduced in the 2000s. You see, in 2005, Microsoft launched the Xbox 360, and it had the Xbox Live Marketplace, which is sadly shutting down next summer. And then a year later, there was the Wii Shop Channel, which shut down almost 5 years ago, sadly. And then there was the PlayStation Store on the PS3. And while disc games were still going along, digital games were more convenient as well. I mean, you could download a game easily, no problem, as long as you pay the price to go to the online store. Now, don't get me wrong. I do prefer physical games because because who knows what could happen to digital games one day. And physical games and one day game collecting will become expensive, and that's why physical games are very meaningful. Now around 2006, sorry, I dropped my mic. Okay, so around 2006, Blu-ray and HD DVD were being produced, the high-definition successors to DVD. Although HD DVD was short-lived and died in 2008, but Blu-ray was kicking along, and to this day, DVD, Blu-ray, and Ultra HD Blu-ray are still going on to this day. However, here's the thing. I think around the early 2010s, digital distribution also came along in movies and TV shows, and you could buy them digitally and also watch them on streaming services like Netflix, Prime Video, and Hulu at the time, and now in this day of age, there's those as well as Disney Plus, Max, Peacock, Paramount Plus, all that. So yeah, and while movies are still being released on DVD, Blu-ray, and Ultra HD Blu-ray, I guarantee that most of you are more likely to watch your movies on one of those streaming services I mentioned, or if you don't have one of those streaming services, then you probably rent or bought the movie that you wanted to watch. It's way more convenient in this day and age, and also in today's day and age too, digital games I think have also outsold physical games most of the time as well, and that's another big thing. So yeah. Now And also, about a month ago, Disney stopped releasing physical media in Australia. After Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Disney decided they were done releasing physical media in Australia, and that's actually what prompted me what prompted me to make this discussion, because Australia stopped releasing, well, Disney stopped releasing physical movies in Australia, so this could be a sign that DVD, Blu-ray, and Ultra HD Blu-ray are done for, possibly. And in the next 5 years, or even less, they could be at their end. Now with PlayStation, well, I did say early in the video that last year there was a rumor that there would be the PS5 Slim would have a detachable disc drive. However, on the Xbox side, it looks like Microsoft might be ditching discs completely. Now, not really too big of a deal, because here's the thing. The chances are, if you bought a physical game on a console, you probably bought it on your PS5 or your Switch. Because nowadays, people use Xbox for Game Pass now. But here's the thing. Microsoft does not care where you play your games, whether you play them on Xbox or PC or both. They don't care how you buy your games or where you buy your games. They just care if you subscribe to Game Pass. Most of Microsoft's money from their Xbox division now comes from Game Pass, and the chances are, if you have an Xbox, you probably have Game Pass or are planning to get Game Pass. Because it's way better than buying all those games, because you get them in a simple subscription service. In fact, Game Pass also has all the games releasing on it day one. Every first party game releases on Game Pass day one, so that makes it even more. That made even more of a possibility that the physical media is dying. Now, while physical media is still being released, I guarantee you that by the next 10 years, physical media will be completely phased out. This might be the last console generation to have physical releases. I think the next Nintendo console will have physical games, but the Nintendo console after that, in like 2031, might completely remove physical games entirely. And that'll be, as sad as it is, it's guaranteed to happen, because, physical games aren't going to last forever. And digital games this day, digital games this day and age have outsold physical games, and chances are you probably haven't bought an Xbox game physically in a long time because Game Pass. In fact, I think the Series S is outselling the X, which makes sense, because because most people are probably not going to play physical games on their Xbox. They're probably going to use Game Pass for all of them. So it made sense for Microsoft to completely remove. Well, it was only a matter of time before Microsoft would completely remove physical games entirely and go adorably all digital with their Project Brooklyn that's supposed to launch next fall, I think. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it for this discussion. I hope you enjoy it. See you guys next time. Agent S out.